From the dawn of time, the ocean has hidden secrets darker and more mysterious than any myth ever told. Beneath its shifting waves lie colossal predators and forgotten giants, creatures so powerful, so alien, that even today they ignite our deepest fears. Imagine standing at the edge of the shore, looking out at a horizon that seems endless, and realizing that under that vast blue expanse once swam beasts capable of swallowing entire legends whole. For centuries, sailors whispered tales of monstrous beings rising from the deep, but the truth is even more chilling. These weren't just stories meant to scare or entertain. They were echoes of real creatures that dominated our planet's waters long before humans walked the earth. From relentless hunters with teeth like daggers to armored titans the size of buildings, these oceanic rulers shaped an underwater world of survival and terror. Think about it. Every time you step into the ocean, you're entering a realm that once belonged to beings far more fearsome than anything alive today. The same waters where you swim, surf, or sail were once the hunting grounds of predators whose power defies imagination. This isn't just a journey into the past. It's an invitation to feel the weight of history and the pulse of something primeval. As we dive deeper into this story, you'll see how nature's most extraordinary designs came to life. Creatures that broke every rule of size, strength, and survival. Each one was a living embodiment of evolution's wildest experiments, and their legacy still lingers in the ocean's depths, haunting our imagination. So take a deep breath, because what you're about to discover isn't just a list of ancient animals. It's an encounter with the true monsters of the ocean's history. And once you see them, you'll never look at the sea the same way again. Megalodon. I can still remember the first time I learned about the megalodon. The name alone sent a shiver down my spine. Imagine a shark so massive that even today's great whites would seem like harmless fish beside it. As I picture it now, I can almost feel the vibrations of its enormous tail cutting through the dark ocean, a predator designed by nature to rule without question. The megalodon wasn't just large. It was a living force of power and precision. With teeth longer than a human hand and jaws capable of crushing a whale's skull, it embodied the peak of underwater dominance. Whenever I describe it, I see people's eyes widen because the scale is almost impossible to grasp. This wasn't a creature of nightmares. It was a reality that swam our seas for millions of years. What fascinates me even more is how this giant shaped the oceanic world around it. It influenced migration patterns, prey behavior, and even the evolution of other species. It's humbling to think about how one predator could command such respect across an entire ecosystem. As I narrate its story, I can't help but feel both awe and a strange sense of loss for a time when nature's power was so raw and unfiltered. And as I leave the megalodon behind for now, I can feel a pull to dive deeper, to uncover the next ruler of the ancient seas. If a shark this immense once roamed freely, what other creatures waited below, even stranger and more formidable? Stay with me, because what comes next might challenge everything you thought you knew about the ocean's past. Leadsichthys. When I close my eyes and picture the ancient seas after the megalodon's reign, another shape rises from the depths, longer than a modern passenger plane, gliding with an elegance that belies its size. This is the Leadsichthys, a colossal filter feeder that transformed the ocean into its personal banquet hall. Even though it wasn't a predator, its sheer scale left an imprint on my imagination that's impossible to shake. Unlike the violent power of the megalodon, the Leadsichthys represents a different kind of dominance, abundance. With a mouth wide enough to swallow entire shoals of plankton in one effortless sweep, it was proof that the ocean's giants weren't only hunters, but also gentle titans. When I tell its story, I can feel my voice soften, as if I'm speaking of a living miracle rather than a monster. What draws me to this creature is the paradox it embodies. It was enormous yet harmless, vulnerable yet unstoppable, a symbol of how life adapts and thrives in unexpected ways. Imagining it moving slowly through the prehistoric waters, sunlight rippling across its vast back, makes me realize how diverse and wondrous the ocean's history truly is. And as we drift away from the silent giant of the plankton seas, I can't help but wonder, if something this vast could exist peacefully, what kind of power lay in the next creature, one built for speed, cunning, and predation? Stay with me, because the ocean's next legend will make you question how anything survived at all. Mosasaurus. Every time I imagine the Cretaceous seas, a chill runs down my spine, because I know what lurked just beneath the shimmering surface. It wasn't a shark or a fish at all. It was a reptile, a colossal marine lizard with jaws lined and sharp teeth, and a body built for speed. This was the Mosasaurus, a predator so dominant that even apex hunters gave it a wide berth. As I speak its name, I feel the same mix of awe and dread that sailors must have felt when they dreamed of sea serpents. Unlike the slow grace of Leadsichthys, the Mosasaurus was a living missile. Its powerful tail propelled it forward in swift bursts, its massive skull snapping shut with a force that could crush bone in an instant. I picture it gliding through warm, prehistoric waters, eyes locked on its prey, an unstoppable force honed by millions of years of evolution. What captivates me about the Mosasaurus is how it blurred the lines between myth and reality. Fossil evidence shows a creature that could easily match our most fearsome sea monsters of legend. Long necks replaced with muscular bodies, a head like a dragon's, and teeth designed to tear. In a way, it's as if our collective imagination remembered it long after it disappeared. And as we rise from the depths of the Mosasaurus's hunting grounds, my mind races ahead. If this reptile ruled the seas with such ferocity, what other forms of ancient terror lay hidden beneath the waves? Stay with me, because the next ocean giant reveals yet another face of nature's untamed creativity. Kronosaurus. Every time I close my eyes and drift back into the prehistoric seas of Australia, I feel the water grow heavier and the silence deeper. Out of that endless blue appears a shape as long as a city bus, armored in muscle and driven by a hunger that never stopped. This is Kronosaurus, a pliosaur whose name itself evokes a god of time and destruction. The thought of it gliding beneath me makes my heart race, even now. Kronosaurus wasn't a passive hunter. With its massive skull and interlocking teeth, it was built to seize and shake prey until bones snapped. Its four powerful flippers churned the water like wings, allowing it to lunge with shocking speed for something so large. I can almost hear the sudden rush of bubbles as it attacked, a burst of violence in an otherwise still ocean. What fascinates me about Kronosaurus is the duality it represents. An animal perfectly adapted to kill, yet also a masterpiece of design and power. It was nature at its most unapologetic. No wasted movement, no hesitation, just precision and survival. When I picture it, I don't just see a predator. I see evolution writing in bold strokes. And as we surface from the dark domain of Kronosaurus, a question lingers like a whisper. If this pliosaur reigned supreme in its time, what other titans might have shared its waters, unseen and unimaginable? Stay with me, because the next creature shows another side of the ocean's primeval mystery. Liopleurodon. Whenever I let my mind sink into the Jurassic seas, one silhouette always emerges from the darkness before any other. It's not just large, it's vast, a living torpedo with jaws lined and serrated teeth. This is Liopleurodon, the apex predator of its age. And even today, its name makes me feel as though I'm peering into a nightmare that once breathed. Unlike anything swimming now, Liopleurodon combined terrifying size with lightning speed. Its four massive flippers sculled the water like oars, propelling it silently toward its prey until it struck with shocking force. I can almost hear the silence before the attack, the moment when every creature nearby sensed something immense moving just out of sight. What draws me most to Liopleurodon is the idea that it hunted in a way we still barely understand. Fossil evidence hints at an animal capable of ambush, cunning, and raw power in a single strike. It represents a predator perfected by time itself, a glimpse of how far evolution can push the limits of speed and strength under the waves. And as I rise from the shadow of Liopleurodon's jaws, I feel a thrill of anticipation. If this was the hunter of the Jurassic oceans, what else waited in the depths? Bigger, stranger, or perhaps even more alien? Stay with me, because the next ocean monster reveals another side of this untamed blue world. Tylosaurus. Every time I picture the late Cretaceous seas, I see a shadow streaking just below the surface, long, sleek, and armed like a living spear. This is Tylosaurus, one of the largest mosasaurs ever to exist. Its very shape tells a story of pursuit and impact, a predator built not just to catch prey, but to ram and disable it with shocking precision. The thought of it moving beneath me still sends a surge of adrenaline through my veins. Unlike some of the slower giants we've met, Tylosaurus was pure velocity. With a body stretching over 40 feet and a skull reinforced for impact, it hunted with brutal efficiency. I can almost hear the thundering silence as it accelerated through the water, jaws opening at the last instant to deliver a killing blow. It was not just an eater of prey, but a force of disruption in its ecosystem. What fascinates me about Tylosaurus is how its design foreshadowed modern apex predators. It combines speed, stealth, and power in a way that feels eerily familiar, as though nature had already sketched out the blueprint for the ultimate hunter millions of years ago. Thinking of it makes me realize how small we are next to the ocean's long memory of power. And as I swim away from the shadow of Tylosaurus, I can't help but wonder, if this was the perfect hunter above, what horrors waited even deeper below. Stay with me, because the next ocean monster is something so strange, so alien, that it will make you rethink what life can look like under the sea. Shanosaurus. Every time I let my imagination sink into the Triassic oceans, I see a shape so immense and otherworldly that it almost doesn't feel real. This is Shanosaurus, a giant ichthyosaur whose body looked like a mix between a dolphin and a submarine. Unlike the savage hunters we've explored so far, this titan patrolled the seas with a quiet majesty, swallowing vast clouds of cephalopods and fish in its enormous jaws. Thinking of it gliding under me still fills me with a strange mix of awe and calm. Shanosaurus was not just large, it was graceful. Reaching lengths of more than 50 feet, it moved with effortless power through prehistoric waters, its massive flippers and long, narrow snout cutting through the currents like a blade. I can almost feel the pressure wave of its passage, a rolling tremor in the water, announcing a creature of unimaginable scale. What draws me to Shanosaurus is how it shatters our image of monsters. It was enormous but not cruel, alien but still beautiful. It represents a time when the oceans teemed with experiments in size and shape, when nature was testing its most ambitious designs. Looking at its fossils, I see not only an animal, but a chapter in the story of life's audacity. And as I drift away from Shanosaurus's gentle enormity, a question pulls at me like a current. If this was one of the ocean's giants at the dawn of the dinosaurs, what terrifying rulers came after, forged for speed, cunning, and raw hunger? Stay with me, because the next ocean monster brings back the thrill of true predation. Thalassomodon. Whenever I picture the late Cretaceous seas, a different kind of silhouette glides through my mind. Impossibly long-necked, wide-bodied, and crowned with a head full of sharp teeth. This is Thalassomodon, a name that means Lord of the Seas, and it moved like a living myth beneath the waves. Even now, imagining it rising out of the gloom makes me feel as though I'm staring into a legend brought to life. Thalassomodon's body stretched more than 40 feet from head to tail, with a neck as long as a city bus. It propelled itself with 4 great flippers, each stroke pushing it forward in a slow, powerful rhythm. That neck allowed it to strike from unexpected angles, turning what seemed like a graceful swimmer into an ambush predator. I can almost feel the stillness before its sudden lunge, a ripple of motion that spelled doom for any fish or squid in its path. What fascinates me about Thalassometon is how it represents a different kind of power, not brute speed, but reach and patience. It was the embodiment of evolution's creativity, showing that dominance doesn't always mean the biggest jaws or the fastest body. When I think of it, I imagine a hunter that used geometry and stealth as much as strength. And as we surface from the depths where Thalassometon once ruled, the water seems to grow darker still. If this was the lord of its time, what other creatures shared its realm, stranger and even more formidable? Stay with me, because the next ocean monster reveals yet another face of the sea's untamed history. Xiphactinus. Whenever I picture the late Cretaceous oceans, one predator always stands out. A fish so enormous and terrifying that it seems like it leapt straight from a nightmare. This is Xiphactinus, a predator whose name means sword ray, though nothing could be further from harmless. I can still feel my heartbeat quicken imagining its massive jaws snapping shut on anything foolish enough to come near, swallowing creatures nearly half its size whole. Xiphactinus wasn't just large, it was lightning in a streamlined package. Its body stretched over 20 feet, covered in scales that glinted as it moved, and its teeth were designed for one thing: devastation. I picture it charging through schools of smaller fish, turning a calm reef into chaos within seconds. There's something primal about imagining an animal so efficient at hunting that survival itself seems secondary to its ferocity. What fascinates me about Xiphactinus is its audacity. Unlike some of the gentle giants we've met, this predator didn't need stealth or strategy. It relied on raw power and instinct, an unstoppable force propelled by hunger. Thinking of it makes me feel the sharp edge of nature's uncompromising design, reminding me that life in the oceans has always been a battle of extremes. And as I let the image of Xiphactinus fade, I feel the pull of the ocean's final, most monstrous secret. If such predators could exist, what creature awaited as the ultimate ruler of the deep, a being so immense and powerful it has captured human imagination for centuries? Stay with me, because the 10th ocean monster will leave you breathless. Leviathan. Every time I let my mind drift into the deepest, darkest waters of the ancient oceans, a shadow looms larger than anything I've imagined so far. This is Leviathan, a creature so enormous and powerful that it could challenge even a megalodon for supremacy. Its massive jaw, lined with teeth longer than a human arm, hints at a predator built not just to survive, but to dominate the oceans entirely. I can feel a shiver run through me just thinking about it, as if the water itself remembers its presence. Leviathan's body was a symphony of raw power, stretching over 60 feet in length, each movement of its tail sending shockwaves through the water. It hunted with the precision of a predator and the relentless patience of a king. I imagine it circling its prey, eyes cold and calculating, muscles coiled like steel springs, before striking with devastating force. There is no room for hesitation in its world, only the unyielding law of survival. What captivates me most about Leviathan is its symbolism. It is the ultimate reminder that the ocean has always belonged to monsters, and that the scale of life underwater can dwarf our wildest imaginations. It embodies nature's audacity and the extremes of evolution, a living testament to power, adaptation, and dominance in a world we can barely comprehend. And as we rise from the depths of Leviathan's domain, I feel a mixture of awe, respect, and exhilaration. We've journeyed through the ocean's greatest monsters, from stealthy predators to gentle giants, and yet one truth remains clear. The seas hold secrets that still outmatch anything we've seen today. So the next time you gaze at the horizon, remember, beneath the waves lie mysteries and monsters beyond imagination, waiting for the curious and the brave. As we pull back from the ancient seas and leave the giants of the past behind, I can't help but feel a profound sense of wonder. These monsters, some gentle, some relentless, all extraordinary, remind us that the ocean has always been a realm of extremes, a place where life pushes the limits of size, power, and adaptation. From the megalodon's crushing jaws to Leviathan's awe-inspiring dominance, every creature we explored tells a story of survival, evolution, and the incredible resilience of life itself. But beyond the teeth, tails, and colossal bodies lies a deeper lesson. The ocean, in all its mystery, mirrors the challenges and opportunities we face in our own lives. Just as these monsters carved out their place in a vast, unforgiving world, we too are called to navigate our personal oceans, embracing both courage and curiosity. Their existence reminds us that greatness often lies just beyond what we can see, waiting for those willing to explore the unknown. And yet, as much as we've uncovered, the sea still holds countless secrets. Every ripple, shadow, and current hints at wonders we have yet to understand. It's a humbling reminder that knowledge is a journey, not a destination, and that our fascination with the unknown drives discovery, imagination, and growth. The monsters of history challenge us to dream bigger, question more, and never settle for the ordinary. If you've been captivated by this journey into the depths, I encourage you to carry that sense of awe into your own adventures, whether in learning, exploration, or simply seeing the world through a lens of curiosity and courage. And if you want to continue uncovering stories that inspire, terrify, and amaze, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear which ocean monster fascinated you the most, or which one you'd never want to meet face to face. Because the ocean is vast, and its secrets are endless, and together, we've only just begun to scratch the surface. Remember, greatness is not just about strength or size. It's about daring to dive deeper than anyone else, to seek the unknown, and to embrace the extraordinary in every corner of life.